Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here because your pastor has been a very good friend. We're in the university together. We ate together. We did everything together, studied and everything. And he's one person that I'll say that I really looked up to shape my life. So I don't take this for granted at all. My prayer is that by the end of this discussion, I call it discussion because I want to hear from you as well. Already I've heard from our dear sister as well. It's for us to talk and then see how best we can help ourselves. So I will expect you to talk. I will ask you questions because when it comes to money, it is very, very crucial. My expectation was that a lot of the young people will be here. But you know what is happening now? Our young people are losing focus because the older generation is not giving them direction. We can instruct them. We can instruct somebody, but directing somebody is different. So hopefully those of you here would share it with those who will come late. Our sister said something very, very important. I'm afraid of what? Investment. And is it her fault? Is it her fault? No. Because of what you hear in the media, because of what is actually happening, because people have lost investment. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's real fear and panic in the system. Can we start the presentation? If you can you see this one very well? Okay, I think it's good here. The fear and panic in the system is because, one, our economy is not doing very well. People have invested in banks a few years ago. Some of these banks collapsed and were taken over by other banks. Fortunately, the government was able to mobilize enough money to pay those who had savings in those banks. Others also invested in various schemes, quick money schemes, and they lost money. Now have you guys heard about something called mark to market? Okay, mark to market. So what it means is that if you don't understand anything, just draw my attention. What it means is that if you invest today, right? You invest 5,000, right? Or 1,000. Now, you are not ready to take out your investment maybe in 2 months, all right? But in a month's time, the value of your investment, the current price may come down. So if you ask for the value of your investment, they will tell you that the 1,000 that you brought is now 800. Okay? But maybe by the time that you are withdrawing your funds, you will get your 1,000 and the interest back on it. But as at today, this is the value of your investment. So there's a little bit of confusion as to what that means. If you decide to pull your money today, you are likely to to make a loss. If you wait till the end, you may recover your loss and make some interest on it. So there are real changes, and these are regulatory changes. These are changes that the Securities Exchange Commission brought into the system, that we should now value investments in that way. So you remember in the news, some people went to their fund managers, and then they were complaining that they invested some amount of money, and the amount of money that they invested had gone down. Okay. I don't think you should worry too much about these things. I'll tell you why. People no longer trust the financial system. And it's true. People no longer trust the financial system. Does it mean that we're going to put our money under our beds as before? And then increase the security in your house? People have started doing that. That's the reality. People have started doing that. The risk about that is that, money has a very funny way of disappearing. The more you see money, the more you want to use it. If the money is in the bank, access to it sometimes is difficult. It's now that ATM has come that it is making our money finish. And then this mobile money, somebody sends you something, then you have to send mobile money as quickly as possible. When mobile money started, it was so easy to make payments that you realize that your money was finishing very quickly. So access to money can affect your savings. So keeping money in the house is not the best thing to do, although the climate is very, very scary. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. We all know that our economy is not doing very well. Inflation is now 45. Prices are going up. I go to the market to buy my fruits, and I ask the price of things. It's like it's tripled, doubled, and all that. The reality is that a lot of people are suffering. Salaries are not increasing as fast as prices are going up. So it means that our real purchasing power is declining. What it means is that your ability to put some money aside also reduces. Okay, so these are real basic crises that we are going through. If you listen to the news, every Ghanaian who appears on radio, television is an economist. They are discussing economic issues, and they have never entered any economic class. So what somebody has said, they will go and say the same thing. They will read somewhere and go and repeat the same thing. It doesn't work like that. You create, yes, we're in crisis, but if you don't know what you are talking about, you create more fear and panic in the system. In one breath, we are talking about IMF, domestic debt exchange. I'll talk briefly about that as well. And it looks like there's uncertainty and we lack direction. If the country lacks direction, then we, the people in the country, we have to stand up and make sure that we are able to redirect our own personal wealth in the way that it should be. Next slide, please. Now, a lot of businesses are suffering. I'm sure some of you have businesses that you are running. Businesses are suffering. They are not doing very well. But in the midst of all these things, there's a scripture that comes dear to me. And it's in Isaiah 43:2. It says that when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When you pass through the rivers, it didn't say river, rivers. Okay? They will not sweep over you. When you walk through fire, you will not be burnt. The flames will not set you ablaze. So, yes, there's crisis. Yes, things are not going well. But as Christians, we know that we serve a God that calms the storm. In Matthew 8, you remember what happened? Jesus was asleep, the storm came up, and then he woke up and then calmed what? The storm. So when people are in panic, when people are living in fear, we Christians should remember that we should not sing the song that they are singing. When people are saying that, oh, it is hard and it is hard for me, you are making it hard for yourself. We as Christians, we depend on the economy of Christ. And with knowledge, we can use that one also to our benefit. Next slide, please. Now let me talk briefly about this domestic debt issue, and I'll say it in a very simplistic manner. What we are going through now is a state where we have borrowed too much, such that paying of interest on the debt is a problem. So what government has just done is that instead of paying high interest on the amount of money that you have lent to government, they are saying that the high interest, I can't pay you that high interest anymore, so I'm going to give you another instrument that gives you a very low interest on the money that you have lent to government. What that means is that for government is going to reduce its cost of borrowing the money from you and I, whilst you that you are sitting here somewhere managing your finances very well is supporting government by taking a loss. So instead of, let's say, getting a rate of 10% from an investment, government is offering you 2% on the same money that you have lent to government. If you consider this carefully, you realize that government is trying to cheat you, right? That's what it means. But the reality is that the 10% they can't even pay you. You risk losing your investment. So let us agree to do something that I can afford so that we can move on. And that is all about this haircut and things that people are talking about. It is a very simple process. We are funding government to reduce their cost of borrowing. You remember in the media, a lot of people were saying that government expenses are too big. Government should learn to control their expenses. And that is something that they should do. We can't fund them to just live large as they are. So these are things that we really need to know and understand. Next one, please. So I just talked about the impact of this debt, restructuring. You are going to lose money. For those who are, how many of you have investments in bonds? Is anybody here like that? Okay. And how many of you have investments in treasury bills? Okay. All right. And then how many of you have investments, different other kinds of investments? What investment do you have? Mutual fund. Yeah, that's also very good investment. How many of you have invested on the capital market? Bought shares and bonds? Shares, yes. So just a few people. Okay. So that means I'm in the right room. So if you look at the effect of this debt exchange, a lot of the banks as well, for those of us who are running business, a lot of the banks, all they do is take our deposit, go and buy government bonds, and give loans. I'm not saying they don't do any good work. They do very good work. But a lot of their investments are in government securities. So have you looked at the newspapers, the graphic, and those things? Have you looked at the accounts of the banks? It's bad. They are making millions of losses, 300 million, 100 million, millions of losses. And this is about one of the very key situations that is putting a burden on those within the financial sector. So now when you are running business and you go to the bank, they don't even want to lend to you because they don't have the capacity to lend. And that is affecting us in business. You go to the bank to borrow and you can't get the money to borrow. When it comes to our individual investments, our investments have declined. Where is inflation? Inflation is 45. If you invest, that is giving you even 20%. You are on the losing side. But it's better to have some 20% than nothing at all. That is why sometimes when we come to such discussions, it's good for us to understand and then see how best to position our investments in the market. Now, next slide, please. Next. Try and stay with me, whoever is controlling the projector. Can you move to the next, please? Okay. So, one of the key things that we have to understand is that we need to look at various investment opportunities open to us. In this present climate, I will tell you that if you have a building project that you are doing, this is the best time to invest in it. This is the best time to invest in it. Because the rate at which prices of building materials are going up is very amazing. And then if you realize that a lot of uncompleted buildings are being completed. People have gone back to them because it is almost better to put your money in brick and mortar than to put it in other investments in these times. So if you're a young person and you have some money, this is the time to buy land. This is the time to start, buying cement and those things. Next, please. I also realize that a lot of us leave large cash balances in our bank accounts. Large cash balances. You are not putting it anywhere. The bank is just using your money to your disadvantage. That is why financial planning is very important. You are paid a salary or you have some amount of money. You know that in a week I will spend 100 cedis. So in a month you are likely to spend 400 cedis. So if in the bank you have about 20,000 sitting in the bank, there's a mismatch. That money should be earning you something. But we leave these large balances and we look at our balances and say, yeah, it's good, 20,000. But the bank is using your money. There's an account in the bank. Some banks have different levels at which you can invest in. It's called call account. Now, what that call account does is that if you have money and you don't know when you're going to use the money, you can put it on a call account. And they are going to give you an interest rate for the amount of money. Anytime you need the money, you can call on that amount. But because banks are very clever, is there a banker here? So where are they? Where are they? Aha. You see, they are very clever. So sometimes the call account, they place the limits very high. Is that not true? Aha. So not many people can access that particular, facility. But when discount houses were there, you could actually go there and then put your monies in those call accounts. So it is important that we speak to our bankers. They work for you. Don't just go to the bank, collect money, and just walk out. Go and sit with your bank manager. No matter how small your account is, assess your manager. And if your manager is a kind man or kind woman, they can tell you what to do. If you don't want to go to the bank, there are so many fund managers that you can go to for investment advice as well. So it's very important that we try and then find out where we can invest. When I started working, I started as a stockbroker. So I had access to the capital market. And one of the things that I always advise my friends to do is that every month invest something on the capital market. When you open, there's a finance book called Brilliant Myers, Corporate Finance. One of the first examples that they give you is that if you give birth to a child, all right, and for every month you invest an amount of money for that child, over a period of 20-25 years, the amount of money that your child would have when the child is 20 years or whatever is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And there was evidence on what the trajectory was on the stock market. So when you invest money on the stock market, it's not for short term. It's a very long term investment. I remember my mother bought shares. So when I went to secondary school and they were telling us about share certificates and all that, I came home and realized that in my mother's things there are share certificates. Standard Chartered Bank, Mobile, Total, and all those others. They asked my man, what are you doing with these certificates? He said, I bought them long ago in the 70s. I bought them when government was, offloading some of these securities. And she had packed them nicely into the what do you call it? That old time portmanteau. Packed them nicely inside, worshipping them. And you go to some people's office, they frame their share certificates and they are looking at them. They don't know that it's an instrument that you can trade. The prices go up. When they go up, you can sell. When it comes down, you buy again. And then you sell. You monitor your investment. But for a lot of them, it was like, I own part of Mobile. And that's a big thing. And they wait for the end of the year when they do the annual general meeting. And then they distribute mosquito spray to all shareholders. And they are so happy. I go with my mom. We carry all these things in Mobile rubber bags and stand chart. And then we are very happy. We think that that's the benefit of shares. So it's lack of knowledge. A lot of people now don't even think of investment in the stock market. But it is something very, very, very good. Young people are forgetting about it. They are not doing these they are looking for very quick money. And there is nothing quick about money. If money comes very quickly, it goes very quickly as well. That's what money does. So it's very difficult to just follow things because you have to just follow them. The next one is what? Yeah. In these times, we need a viable strategy. In these times, you need a viable strategy. Let me run very quickly through this one. And wealth creation is not automatic. It is not claiming it. You can't claim wealth. You can't just pray for wealth. God gives wealth, but he uses your skill, knowledge to make you gain wealth. Next slide, please. Now, you have to create a long-term financial plan and goal. Your bankers can help you. Experts can help you to do that. I won't go too much into that. The next one, I have 10 points that I want you to, if you can remember, that would be great. We need to think big about our investments. When we start small, but as we progress, it becomes bigger. So start small, and then gradually, constantly, you are investing more into your investment opportunities. Next one, please. Time is money. And this is really to the young people. The young people are spending too much time doing useless things. Sometimes when I go to the restaurant and I see young people come in, when they buy food and you see the meat on the food, snail, wele, fish, and then I just buy something and buy only one meat or fish, but you see a display of aquarium animals in their food. That is waste of money. Your body doesn't need that amount of meat, but it is a display of like we are tired, so we have to enjoy small. But you see, it's a waste of money. That can buy a lot of bags of cement. Anytime you are spending money, just think of iron rods, bags of cement, stones, and sand. When you think like that, your level of spending will change. Because you realize that we are building houses in our tummies and it's coming out. But it's not supposed to. We are supposed to keep it as flat as possible so that we build bigger houses. So it is not a good thing to waste money. Next one, please. Okay, next. I wanted to talk about these young people as well. I like dealing with young people because they are the future. A lot of our young people are sleeping too much now. They are sleeping, enjoying. It's too much. If you are young, don't sleep too much. Wait till you are a little bit older, then you can rest more. Right now, it's your time to make money. It's your time to move and do things. Because the energy that you have now, that energy will not last you for a very long time. That is why people who run sprint, they only run for a very short period of their life. And they make a lot of money within that short period. And that should last them a lifetime. So remember that you need to develop yourself, build your business, learn very hard, learn new skills, always be looking forward and not in the past. Next, please. Next. The next one is also develop a personal budget. You realize that a lot of us don't have budgets. A lot of us, we just try to spend. But please, if you can, experiment for only 1 month or 2 months. Draw a budget for your own expenditure and income. Just try that for a moment. You will see some leakages that, in fact, you will be surprised. You will be surprised. Sometimes money comes into your house, you don't know where the money has gone to. And it's because we don't really budget. But just 1 month, put pen and paper down. What I'm spending on this, what I'm sending through Momo, and this and this and that. You realize that there are things that we can cut down and put it into investment. Do not compare yourselves with others. Young people, when you see they are dressing as if they are millionaires, yes, it's good to dress nice, but live within your means. Clothes don't make us. Clothes, they don't make us. They give us good presentation. I think my presentation is not bad, isn't it? Yeah. If I come, shabbily dressed, I don't think you're going to listen too much to what I'm saying, isn't it? Is that not true? Yeah. But I cannot overdo it because those monies can be spent in bringing money. The airways, is there an airway here? Yes. There's something called Ega Jiga, or what do you call it? Money brings money, right? You spend money to bring money. But if you spend money and the money is not coming back, you are leaking. It's like a car that is leaking oil. Very soon you will ground to a halt. So we should be careful about that. Next one, please. Learn to develop saving habit. I think I've talked about that. The next one, develop multiple streams. This one is very, very important to me. Multiple streams of income is not something that is too strange. And our women do it a lot. That I give it to them. A woman will be selling hair products to friends, creams, selling this, doing this, different things. You may think that the amount of money you are making on each is very small, but collectively, within a very short period of time, you realize that you are going to build a business for yourself. It is very important. Our women have learned that they do it. The men, I think we have to do more of that. But for men, we are looking for very big things. Very big things. Men dream very big. It's good. But sometimes small things helps. So I have some small number of sheep I'm taking care of. All right? So every now and then I go there and see that they are progressing. Although they are not taking care of the sheep well, at least my love for animals means that although I'm not making a lot from it, I can expand it. I have about, I think, 8 female sheep. So if they all give birth to just one, I have what? I double the number. And when some of them, when they mature, they can give birth to 2. And you multiply it. When Salah comes, I can sell all of them. Or Easter or whatever. I can sell all of them. So, and that is not my specific area of expertise. But it's something that I think I can make money out of. I keep pets, dogs. It's very difficult for me to sell them because all my friends know I keep dogs. So when they give birth, everybody counts for them. I can't sell them. But that one is a loss. That one is okay. But you have young people who have taken some of these big dogs. They are taking care of them and selling the puppies. It's a good income. One puppy costs 4,000 cedis. It's more than a goat. One small puppy. So multiple streams of income is something that we should consider as Christians. Think deeply about what you can do, what you love to do, and see if you can create any business out of that one as well. Next one, please. 7, work smart. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrow, for so he giveth his beloved sleep. Look, it's not just working, that's the issue. It is working smart, doing the smart things the smart way. That's how it is. If you have to develop yourself to do better, do better. The last time I was doing a project, I asked some guys to come and weld something for me. And the guy was just interested in joining the things together. Because it's fire and metal. All he has to do is just join. So he was just joining it. Whether it was straight, whether it was smooth, he doesn't care. And I was looking at this guy and thinking that how can you be so naive to think that you are doing something that is beautiful. And then, do you know the painful part? When they finish, and then you ask them, is this straight? They'll go back and look at it and tell you, yeah, it's straight. And meanwhile, it is not straight. You tell him to put something by it to determine, he says, okay, but you can manage. So, perfection is very important if we are going into getting multiple streams of income and then working smart. Next item, be hungry for success. All of us, no matter your age, whether you are young or old, we have to be very successful. There are people who break through very close to 60 years, 65, 70 years, 50, and there's no number for you to break through. So, whilst we are at it, let us do our very best. Next one. Next. And then pray for your career and business. You know, I didn't start with that one first. And it's deliberate. Most of us put that one very first and we leave all the others. We don't even touch them. That one, God will not hear you. Believe me. They are big prayer warriors. Prayer is important, but God uses your skill and knowledge. You remember when God wants to use a man of God, he says, what is in your hand that I can use? What is in your hand? What do you have? You know, so these are some of the things that we need to develop. Next one, please. I'm just closing. Your confessions. Christians, let us confess positive. When you confess positive, you yourself feel good. You develop faith. You encourage yourself to go on. Statements, I mean, I can't afford this. You can say, how can I afford this? You know, these are positive statements that you give yourself. You know, how can I do it? How can I do it? Always give yourself an encouragement that something can be done. When you confess positive, your whole being goes along with you. It goes along with you. If you realize that you can do it, if a dog is chasing you, and there's a gutter, you won't believe how high you will jump. And it is only because the dog is encouraging you to jump. But if it's left to you alone, there is no way you will jump that. But for dear life, you will jump because something is making you think positive. 11. Stay healthy. Please, we can invest all our money, and then when you invest, you can't eat cake. You can't drink Fanta, Coca-Cola. So let's put a lot of emphasis on our health. There's nothing like making money and you cannot enjoy the money. You know, when I was growing up, I loved sugar cane. I said when I grow up, I'll fill my whole fridge with sugar cane. Then you realize that when you grow old, you can't even take one. You know, so staying healthy is very, very important. Next one. Next. Learn to give. Giving is important. Give to good causes. Give to people who are in need. Help people. When you cast your bread on the waters, it will return back to you. For sure. You will not lose. Some people have a habit of thinking that when you give, you throw the money away. You don't. You actually bless lives. You help people. And that itself gives satisfaction. That person will do well. And you see the person, and a lot of them, they are ungrateful anyway. But your giving is not to the person. It's unto what? God. Sometimes, where you bless is not where you receive your blessing. So don't think that when I bless somebody, I'll receive that blessing from this part. It will come from somewhere else. Because as you are blessing, God is touching others, somebody else to bless you. Next one. So these are pictures, right? Pictures have a very, very interesting way of transforming our thinking. What you see can push you forward. What you see can depress you. What you listen to can depress you. What you listen to can push you forward. So it's important to always aspire to things that you want to achieve. Have pictures on your mind. See yourself in a certain way. And you will be. As a man thinketh, what? So is he. So mental pictures are very important. If you always have a mental picture that you fall into crisis, you fall into trouble, whatever you fear will come onto you. It is very important. And as Christians, I believe that the next pictures play a key role in how we see ourselves. Thank you very much. And I don't know whether there's time for questions or not. Okay.
Put our hands together for Pastor Nuer. At this time, we will take questions. So if you have a question, you can kindly put up your hand. And, okay, Mati, can we have a microphone?
Thank you for the presentation. One of the things you mentioned was we shouldn't leave monies in our accounts just sitting there. But then people also talk of having an emergency fund or some money that you can rely upon in case there's an emergency. So how do you go about with the balance of that?
Okay. All right. I think when you are drawing your budget, you know that maybe something will happen. Precautionary, funds, you put them away. Something happens, here a lot of times, funeral and those other things, you have to know how your lifestyle is. If you know that there are some things that can crop up, you leave something away for that. Because that's not a time for you to be going to Fred and say, Fred, can you give me some 1,000? I may not have the 1,000 to give you. So yes, what you consume and what you put away for precautionary, motives is also very important. Yeah.
Any more questions? Yes.
Yeah. Good morning. I wasn't here earlier, but I'm sure you talked about bonds and treasury bills. And maybe I'll go off tangent, but I think it will still be in line. I think the government of Ghana is behaving like NAM1.
It's behaving like who?
NAM1 or Ponzi scheme. They are, because when people invest in bonds and the rest,
yes,
it looks as if government pays back, right? Government should be able to do something to generate extra to pay for those bonds. But it looks as if, I'm not saying Africa, but Ghana in particular, and for that matter, no government in Ghana will succeed, whether NDC, NPP or so. Because if I take salary and use about 30% to generate, income, bond.
Yes.
The government should use it to produce, invest in income surplus to be able to pay what I'm supposed to take at the end of the quarter or so.
Yes.
But we don't have those type of productive ventures any government in Ghana is investing in. This one I can say it for the fact. And they are expecting money to pay back. If there's a haircut, government now is going everywhere. They will come into even our homes to come and tax us just because they are not producing, they are not using the monies to do any venture. These World Bank loan they are going to collect, they will come and use it to pay the bonds, people have invested. It will never get to anywhere. So they've made people lazy. Now I can sit in my room, invest in bonds and treasury bills, and then I don't care where the money will come from. And then that is all. If we have to live in this type of economy, yes, you are encouraging everybody to invest.
Yes.
But no, we are not investing in productive ventures which will bring returns. Because when in the past, when government was selling cocoa, we had cocoa marketing scholarship. Some of us enjoyed it. Today, even the cocoa is ceded to something. So, and SNIT, they are taking even from SNIT. SNIT should have been helping students even to go to universities and the rest. Government is taking that money. So nobody will be helped. The only productive
Dr.
venture...
J, can you round up for us?
Yes, the only productive venture is producing human beings. This is so far as I know. Otherwise, for food and for everything, government will have no money even to do roads or hospitals. There's a lot to talk about, but
yes.
I rest my case.
So I agree with you on most of the things that you have said. But the irresponsibility of a government does not reflect the irresponsibility of the individual.
Mm-hmm.
That is why we're talking about multiple streams of income. And we're saying that bonds, treasury bills, stock market, placing money in various productive ventures is also another way of, investment. So the whole point of the discussion is that bonds and treasury bills are not the only form of investment. But because it was very, very productive over the past couple of years, all that people were doing was just buying bonds and treasury bills. I have a friend, she retired from a financial institution, put all her funds in bonds. That's it. And the bonds that she invested in could have paid equal to her salary when she was working. But now, there's a serious crisis. So instead of doing real investments and combining and spreading there's something that you call, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So you spread it around. You don't do only one type of business. You do several types of businesses if you have the ability to.
Any more questions?
One more for me. So I totally agree with you about diversifying your portfolio, making sure that you spread your risks. My concern as well to do with, government bonds and treasury bills. At the moment, until recently, I know the government was giving about 35% return on investment on these treasury bills, which is ridiculously high. I don't know how they are going to be able to pay back. My concern is there might come a point where the government won't be able to pay back the return on investment on treasury bills, and we'll just end up like the bond situation. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yes, there can be a possibility of that, yes. A year ago, if you say government was going to default on bonds, a lot of people will say no.
Yeah.
But even before then, there were signs that there was going to be a default. And people started pulling off bonds. Same way, lots of people are not putting money in treasury bills, although treasury bill investments are going up. Because there's no other viable investment opportunities for people, because people are used to these lazy investments as you describe them, because they are very lazy investments and they are very profitable. So because we are not stupid, if somebody decides to give you 35% or 40% on treasury bills, why don't you invest in there? But we've seen that, look, what we call safe government securities, which do not fail, are failing.
Yeah.
But this confirms what the Bible says. That the arm of flesh will what? Will fail us. And government cannot support us. So yes, anything can happen. That is why it's good for us to spread our investments across board. But I don't hear anybody talking about capital market investment. You don't know much about capital market investment.
No.
Oh, the money is there. The money is there. You have no idea the amount of money people have sitting down that is lying idle. Yes, there is there. You see people who have money and they don't know what to do. Investment in shares and bonds is like getting ownership in a business. So on the capital market in Ghana, you have Mobile, Stand Chart, and all those other things. So you go to see a broker and you tell them that you want to invest in this security. They will advise you depending on the money that you have and your investment horizon. The point is, investment in capital market is a continuous investment. It's not one investment and then you stop and look at your certificate as I talked about. Because when you are an active investor, the price of these shares go up. When you realize that it's going up, you can sell on the high. Everybody starts selling. Everybody starts selling to make a return. Then you realize that people stop buying because the price has gone too high. Then it starts coming down again. So people come down. When it comes down, they buy again and wait for a period of time before they start selling. So it's active investment. Our money is very serious money. We don't sleep and earn money. So we have to look at our money with an eagle eye and concentrate on making sure that we are able to retain the amount of money that we want to. It's only by active involvement. If you have a business, if you look at the Lebanese, when they have a business, they sit at the till and the brother is at the aisle. But some of us, we will sit in the office with air conditioning and we will leave them at the till and you'll be bleeding at the till. So you learn from those who have been successful, how they have able to control workers. Because workers, when you invest in a business as well, it also comes with its challenges. The last time somebody was telling me, he has a restaurant, the workers are selling their own drinks, and his drinks are in the fridge.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. The workers are selling their own drinks, and his drinks are in the fridge, so nobody is stealing anything. But he's bleeding. He sees people coming to eat, but there's no money in the business. So everything that we do, we have to put attention on where the money is and how we can make sure that we protect our own money.
Okay. Also, for any final words?
I think in conclusion, the economy is bad, things are not going well, but we serve a living God who has given us wisdom, he has given us intelligence, and he has given us skill. And it's rest upon us to utilize our skills to our benefit. If God wants to bless you, he will use what you have to bless you. It is very rare to find 1 million on the floor. I haven't seen somebody who has found 1 million on the floor. But when you use your skill, he makes sure that you benefit from what he has given you. And that is what I leave with you as well. Let's have a positive mind and positive approach to everything that surrounds us. Thank you very much.